Hi and welcome back. I'm Mary Jo, also known as Sojo, and this is my channel where I talk about all my quilty stitchy things. And we have a new addition in my little sewing room, right back there behind me. Now my daughter brought this home for me last night and told me I needed to put it in my backgrounds of my videos, and she told me this was also my new video coordinator. So, and we had to give it a name, so its name is Philomena. So Philomena is in my video for right now. So anyway, this is my weekly update 103, and it is April 13th, 2025. Now, I know I haven't done a weekly update the last couple weeks, and I have had some people ask me or comment on my videos, everything is okay, and everything is fine. It's just we've had a few little minor things. I mean, nothing major. Let's see, we've had some just routine eye appointments, dentist appointments. My husband had to have some dental work done. And we now have 4 drivers in our house. So a little bit, I don't know, a few weeks ago, my son has his license, which is fine. We have 4 vehicles, 4 drivers, and when those vehicles go down, we all have to do the kind of vehicle shuffle. And that's also kind of happened in the last couple weeks. Something with pistons or something in my husband's truck, and I had a tire pressure sensor go out. Needless to say, all those things just kind of took away from my quilting and crafting time. So that's all. It's all minor. Now, last week, our toaster quit working. So we got a new toaster. And my son had to make the comment of, well, we've had to get a new refrigerator recently within the last year, a new microwave and a new toaster. And he says, so what's next? The stove or the dishwasher? I was like, boy, shut your mouth before you jinx us. So who knows? Let me know in the comments down below. Which appliance do you think's next? The stove or the dishwasher? Who knows? Just the way life goes sometimes. So what have I been working on? Well, I did get this quilted last week. I'll put Philomena out of the way in a minute so you can take a better look. But this was the Strawberry Lemonade Jolly Bar from Fat Quarter Shop. Now, the Jolly Bar usually comes with a free pattern. The free pattern that came with this, I didn't like. I used my own. Well, I picked out another pattern from one of the Jolly Bar books. Let me see. And this is the Jolly Bar Book 4. And I did the shoe fly quilt, and that's what mine looks like. So a Jolly Bar, in case you don't know, is exclusive to Fat Quarter Shop, and it is a 5 by 10 inch cut of fabric, so it's like basically a half of a layer cake. If you take a layer cake, cut it down the middle, that's what it is. Now, when I quilted it with a strawberry pantograph, so there's strawberries all over it, and I chose the strawberry pantograph because the name of the line is Strawberry Lemonade. So we'll go ahead and take a closer look at everything. Okay, so we're starting at the top and we're just going to pan down. You can start to see those strawberries that are coming out in that pantograph that are quilted all throughout. All right, there we are. Now that center square there, since I used all those white backgrounds and put them together, I know it's kind of hard to differentiate, but that's why I put those in the middle. Okay, and let's look at the back. Now for the back, I had used their little cheater print that came out with the line. That's this hexagon. And that's what that's looking like. So that quilt is approximately 16.5 by 16.5. At least that's the measurements that it gave in the pattern. So I'm going to go with that because I pretty much follow the pattern. Like I said, I just used that Strawberry Lemonade Jolly Bar. So what else did I do? Well, let me hang that up too because I did finish the quilt top. So the quilt top I finished was the Peaceful Blaskets block of the month from the Sew Sampler box. I have all 12 of the blocks done, put together into a quilt top, so let's go in and take a closer look at all those. Okay, so we're starting at the top. There's block 1, 2, 3, working our way down, And we got those stars that are coming in through the sashing. And we got block 4, 5, and 6. Coming down. 7, 8, 9. And then to the bottom, which is going to be the tricky one to show. We got 10, 11, and 12 there. So that's Peaceful Baskets all put together. So this month in the Sew Sampler, they should be starting a new block of the month. I forget what it's called, something about flowering or flowers, something about flowers. Now, I do not think I'm going to buy the kit this year. I may do it, but I'm just going to use what I have. We'll see. They haven't released those fabric requirements yet. Okay, so let's talk about everything else I worked on, but let me put Philomena back because my daughter wanted it in the video. Okay, so earlier in the week, I did a video releasing block 3, or me showing block 3 of the Flower Shop block of the month being put together. So this is, that's not block 3. This is block 3. And then I don't remember which is 1 and which is 2. I think this is block 1. And this is block 2. Now let's see if I can find a picture of that quilt all together. So this is that Flower Shop quilt, once it's all put together, what it will look like. Okay, so let's see. Oh, I don't think I told you. What was the dimensions on that quilt? This quilt behind me, Peaceful Baskets, it is 66.5 by 86.5. I haven't decided what kind of pantograph I want to quilt on it yet. I also don't have background, but I don't know. Or not background, I don't have backing. I don't know. Let me know what kind of pantograph you think I should quilt on that. I'm not sure. Okay, let's see. Now, later in the week, I hope to release my What Will I Make series, where that's just where I take some sort of pre-cut and use a free tutorial like from Missouri Star and make something with it. So what I'm making this time is I'm going to make the Pony Express quilt. Here's the block. Now, of course, I will not be using these fabrics because these are just my test blocks. But that should be coming out starting on Friday. Now, I don't know how many videos are going to be for that or how many parts I'm going to have to that. But the first one will be released on Friday. Okay, now I do have a couple other videos that are going to be released like Monday and Wednesday that are like some haul and shopping videos that I've already pre-recorded, and they'll just be released then. So, what else? Let me get to all the other quilty things. So I'm working on this quilt. It's called Greeny, and this is from the Love of Quilting magazine from the March-April 2018 edition that I've been working on. And of course I have all different fabrics. So I've started the process of making some pinwheels. Now these are pinned together, so they'll still need to be sewn. These are my medium and light greens. These are my dark greens and the light greens. So I have a bunch of those. And I've made some two patches. So those are kind of where I am in that process. Got a whole bunch of them in there. Just waiting to sew those. Then, let me show you this. Then I worked on this, which this was from the Cupid box that I had a subscriber send to me. Thank you very much for sending that. But this is the flowers and chocolates, and I'm working on that. Now, they're still in many different pieces, so it's kind of hard to show you. But I had made a mistake in this, so I'm going to show you how I fixed it. Now, these are just from the little borders. I've got all those already sewn together. And then I've got a bunch of other pieces through here that are all stacked together in the order that I've started on. Different pieces that we are there in the process. Now, let's see if I can get to my cutting mistakes here. All right. So this piece is actually supposed to be just a giant rectangle. Well, when I cut it wrong. So I had to add an extra piece, Frankenstitch, add an extra piece to make it long enough. And I did this for all 3 of these. Now, when I was going farther in the pattern, I also forgot to cut some little extra squares here. So I was like, oh no, how am I going to get that? Well, if I looked in the pattern, these were rectangles, big rectangles, and they have some stitch and flips. And those stitch and flips, well, these rectangles are going to go onto another piece, and they have some stitch and flips, which are these. But anyway, so I was like, okay, well, when I do the stitch and flips to do it diagonal and cut those corners off, well, that little square is going to be part of the cutoffs. So that's how I got my thing, as I cut off little squares on each side. So now I have enough pieces. So I had to do some creative cutting there. But hey, it all worked out. Make it work. But that was my fault. I had cut it. It clearly states in the instructions. It's just something you miss. You know, we all make mistakes. And, you know, some people say, why do you talk about your mistakes? Well, I talk about my mistakes because we all make them. And it's good to have other ideas on what to do and how to fix them. So that's why I talk about my mistakes. But, because we're not perfect. And quilts are supposed to have mistakes. You're just not supposed to be able to see the mistakes, in my opinion. So, that's all. That's how I fixed that. Not the end of the world. And like I said, with those stitch and flips, when you do the diagonal, when you cut it off, that piece that's missing is going to be on that cut off triangles. So, all right. What else did I work on? May have to back up a little bit to show this quilt. But I'm working on this new Bedford quilt. Now this was a free pattern from Free Spirit when I had done this. I've tried to find this since and I can't find it, so I guess it's no longer free. But here's a picture of the pattern. Now of course it's all in black and white, so you can't really see the prints, and plus I have completely different fabric in here. But I have managed to sew the center of this all together, and I'm just where I need to add borders on all the way around. So let me show you that here. Okay, so I'm going to scoot back here a little bit, and then I'm going to show you this new Bedford quilt and where it's at. And as you can see, I'm starting to add that first border all the way around. And I've got the first border pinned to the top. So that's what the new Bedford quilt is looking like, and it does have 3 borders around it. I'm on that first one. So I worked on that, and then I worked on one other quilt. And the last quilt I worked on is this Forest Fungi quilt. There we go. And I'll show you where I am on that. The mushrooms are starting to come together, and I have started on those big leaves. Now, I think this is using a line Pumpkin Spice by Simple Simon & Co. And the pattern is designed by Pen and Paper Patterns. Again, there's where it is. Let's see. Now, there are small mushrooms and larger mushrooms, and I can show you, here's where some of the smaller mushrooms are. Just a few of them. So I've got those coming together. Again, some smaller mushrooms. These are just like the opposite. Just go on the opposite side. There's another one. So like I said, they're opposites. Okay, and then we've got some parts and pieces here to the larger mushroom. This. And we got this. And again, this is all to the other mushrooms. And then we've started on assembling some of the leaves. Let's see. So we have this. This is going to be the stem that goes down, and like this is like the veins on the leaves. Let me see if I can find one that's a little bit more pronounced. This is a brown, and oops, I think this one would be best. See where that brown is going to be the leaves, and this here comes down into the stem, I guess. Comes all the way down. All right, so we've worked on that. And then we've got some other mini different pieces parts that goes onto the leaves. But I think it's about as far as I want to pull out because I don't want to get any more confused. Because I do have these in order that I need them. Because I do kind of organize things as I go. Because I don't necessarily work in patterns like do one step, then you do 2 steps and 3 steps. I kind of go through and group as much together as I can. And that's just me. And since I have those all in order in the way I like to sew, I don't want to mess them up. So, all right. So I think that's everything that I've worked on as far as sewing and quilting for the last 3 weeks. Like I said, considering it's 3 weeks, I don't think there's really that much done compared to what I normally do. But like I said, there's been so many other things going on. There's all been minor, nothing major. And I'm thankful for that. Minor I can deal with. But that is what I've been working on. So let me pull you now to cross stitch. So the last time I did a video, I had been working on this Hocus Pocus. I said hopefully maybe I'd have it done in time for Halloween. And I just finished it this morning. So here's what it's looking like. Got it all done, got all the back stitching done. Now this is on 14 count Aida. There's the back stitching. Now, when I watch different floss tubes and things out there, which is for cross stitch, I know a lot of people talk about they don't like back stitching. Well, I must be strange because I love back stitching. That is like my favorite part. Now, any more and more modern patterns, they don't usually have a lot of back stitching, but this one did. So I'm excited about that. But I finished all the back stitching. All right. Like I said, I like back stitching. French knots I can do without, but I like back stitching. Okay, now to crochet. I had been working on some of these amigurumi things, and so I made this Pokemon. Let's see, I was trying to find a picture of it, and if I can show the picture, there we go. So this is this Pokemon Lapras. There we go. And this is from this Pokemon crochet book. I don't know, my husband bought me. My son wanted me to make this Lapras, which I did. And here's what mine looks like. There it is. I don't know, I think it looks kind of funny. But there it is. Now with this Pokemon compared to the other one, the other amigurumis I'd been making, they had felt and they had glued the felt down for the eyes. I don't really like the felt eyes. I like the safety eyes better, but I did what the pattern says. So I made this. I just finished this yesterday. I don't know. Now that is all using scrap yarn because that's what I've been using with this, just using scrap yarn I had, seeing what I can make. Now I think because I still have a lot of this color left, this bluish color. I think I'm gonna try to make another Pokemon thing out of here. Let's see, and I'll show you what it is, if I can find it. Because I'm looking for it, I'll never be able to find it. Let's see. There it is. I think I'm going to try to make this Snorlax. Right there. We'll see. And this doesn't have any felt on it. That's just all embroidered. And, well, it does have felt paws on the back, little squares, or on the bottom of the feet, which I think I'll just leave off. Like I said, I just didn't like working with the felt and gluing it on. Part of it because these pieces were so small, but, you know. It is what it is. And the last thing that I've worked on is more of my diamond painting. Here's a little picture of what it's looking like, the Amsterdam Canal. This is big. It's 38.6 inches by 27 by 6 inches. So let me get that. And here's where I am. I'm about halfway done with this. And I've just started down there. You can start to see the bike tire right through there. Okay. So that is everything that I worked on for the last couple weeks. Till next time.